Part 96. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 957. What's there to say? That side needs its own top-notch dagger. Naturally, Taoran could only send him off once. But she definitely can't bring the fire scorpion back to the top of the mountain. So when she was approaching the mountainside, she suddenly started to speed up, and the distance between her and the fire scorpion was suddenly increased from 30 to 40 meters to nearly 80 meters. When she saw Lele from a distance, she shouted, "Hurry up, throw the things into the water and push them out, and then you get up first." Lele naturally complied. I saw Lele push a branch as thick as a bowl that was already on the shore of the lake heavily into the water, then step on the water and jump in. This is Lele's mission. This guy has poor physical fitness and poor strength. Apart from his cleverness, his other abilities are average. Rather than letting him go up the mountain or risking being delayed, Taoran simply let him stay on the mountainside and gave him the task of finding floating objects. After much thought, this lake was the best retreat. First, fire scorpions are afraid of water and cannot swim. Second, fire scorpions breathe fire, and only this lake is the least vulnerable. Third, Taoran always felt that the system would not be so kind, and specifically told them that there is a water source on the mountain. Maybe this is it. The retreat or protective ground set by the system for them. With this idea in mind, Taoran and the others decided to use the lake to avoid the two fire scorpions. They had had enough before falling into the waterway. They didn't want to stay in the water this time. Moreover, they are still carrying mummy bodies, so it is best not to soak them in water as much as possible. So Lele's mission this time is to find suitable trees for boats on the lakeside, so that they don't have to go into the water later. There are many dead trees near the lake. Lele is not good at other things, but he is still very good at this. No, 10 minutes ago he announced through the small speaker that he had found 3 suitable trees and 6 branches that could be used for paddling. Everything is ready, all I need is my partners. At this moment, after receiving Taoran's signal, he had already pushed the log into the water, stood on the log, and watched Taoran running towards him. "Hurry! Hurry!" Lele waved to Taoran. Taoran increased his speed to the fastest and shouted loudly, "Pull the wood to the middle of the lake quickly." "Hurry!" Lele complied. His captain is very powerful and he knows Qinggong. Within a few meters, it is completely easy for the captain to come over. So Lele quickly lifted up his paddle. Taoran was about to reach the lake when he suddenly said continue and then threw the mummy body on his back towards Lele. Lele was shocked. He barely managed to catch the mummy's body and hang it on the log without falling into the water, but he himself rolled into the water. He was stunned before he could successfully climb the log. He never expected it. He thought the captain would jump on his log, but unexpectedly the captain ran right in front of him. Just like that, he ran away. "Lele, just hold on. I'll be right back." Before Lele could say no, Taoran disappeared in an instant, and poisonous scorpion had already arrived. Lele quickly turned over and shouted, "Captain, wait." And behind him, a ball of fire spurted out from the poisonous scorpion's mouth. Although the log has been rowed out several meters, and although the poisonous scorpion is afraid of water, it does not prevent it from breathing fire. A ball of fire burst out directly. As soon as Lele put one leg on the log, she felt her butt was hot. The hot flame swept over and rolled directly over this area. The heat wave hit, causing Delil to fall into the water. When he looked again, he saw that the second half of the dead wood he had picked up carelessly was already burning. Then there was a touch on the buttocks that didn't seem right, and it was hard for him not to scold the captain. She should have told him earlier. Then he would have pushed the log farther away earlier. Good this time. Lele wanted to cry. The piece of fabric on his buttocks and hind legs was all burned away. This is his last piece of clothing. He has no clothes to change. And at this moment, he has to put the overall situation first. The log was on fire and the fire was quite strong. So his ship was ruined. The two other logs he prepared were still parked on the shore. How to fix it? Now he is so alone, half a corpse in the lake. Not only did he have to hold the mummy's body and protect it in front to avoid being burned, but he also had to push his hot and bare legs to the center of the lake. So tired. I thought that staying by the lake would be the easiest job for him. Looking at it now, I'm afraid it's the opposite, right? He was so worried. Now, he is like a hard-working Statue of Liberty, holding half of a corpse, guarding the hope of their team. At the same time, he was still swimming hard, trying to get out of the fire scorpion's range, letting the tongues of fire roll over his back. This effect is worthy of a blockbuster movie. He was touched by himself. When he finally struggled to the center of the lake and could finally safely turn around to face the fire scorpion, his upper body was almost only left with a belly band. Lele, who was cursing, had time to open the message bar. He just heard the message. Voice from Tauran, hold on, protect the mummy. I'll get back to you soon. Just stay in the water, but don't get too far into the fire scorpion, or let it give up on you. Try to help us hang it. Lele breathed heavily. There are quite a few requirements. But why is he the only one on a solo mission? Soon, he began to worry. There is no one here right now, so he can stay in the water first, but what about later? Is he naked in front of his teammates? Doesn't he want to lose face? How could he leave? They won't add insult to injury, right? But within 2 minutes, he had no time to think about these things. Because the fire scorpion hated water, and when he saw that he couldn't catch it, he turned around and prepared to leave. Lele had no choice but to yell and swim towards the shore. Finally, she managed to hang up the fire scorpion and accepted the care of 2 more rounds of fire tongues. On the other side, the 4 of them exchanged various tools and found that only Tauran's exchanged top-grade dagger could cut the roots of the tree. It took several minutes for the 4 of them to work together to drag the newly acquired mummy body out of the mud. But the system message did not come. After a second, they understood. It's not over yet. Because as soon as this body was completely free from the mud bottom that could be stepped on before began to sink. Several secretaries received feedback that they only had 90 seconds to escape from the mud. At this time, Tauran and Zhou Chang looked at each other. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming. The two said in unison. Me first. Tauran only said 2 words, and Zhou Chang understood. The two have a good understanding. Tauran jumped directly onto Zhou Chang's shoulder, and Zhou Chang also tried his best to send her upwards. Zhou Chang himself sank for half a meter, while Tauran escaped from the swamp with the help of Qinggong. This is not only tacit understanding, but also trust. Zhou Chang believed that Tauran would not abandon him, and he believed that Tauran would definitely rescue him within the stipulated time, so he took the risk of putting himself in the most dangerous situation among the 4 and possibly being eliminated. I did it without hesitation. Thank you Brother Long for the reward, please show your appreciation. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 958. With the cooperation of Tauran and the other 4, they managed to escape within 90 seconds and brought out the third part of the mummy's body. Worried, Eulele was now hanging the fire scorpion alone. After notifying Xiao Wang, who was still leading a fire scorpion running all over the mountains and fields, the 4 of them hurried to the lake. Thanks to running. When the 90 seconds were up and they had just escaped from the swamp on the top of the mountain seemed to be shaking. By the time they ran 200 meters away, the vibrations on the top of the mountain were already obvious, almost like a magnitude 3 or 4 earthquake. This mountain, isn't it going to collapse? The four of them rushed to the mountainside lake, where Xiao Wang was almost there. Xiao Wang had been running with the mummy for more than half an hour. He was already exhausted and wanted to get into the water quickly. In this way, 2 fire scorpions will gather by the lake. Tao Ran took over the responsibility again. She carried the mummy on the top of the mountain and continued to play the game of luring the tiger away from the mountain. She first ran directly to the lake. Fire Scorpion, who had been staring at Lele, immediately discovered her, immediately gave up on Lele, and started a new round of pursuit. Tao Ran ran in the direction where Xiao Wan came from again. She planned to lure away the 2 fire scorpions alone to buy time for her companions to move. She was the only one who had the speed bonus and the basics of Qinggong, and she shouldered this task. Xiao Wang understood and said thank you as he walked away from the fork in the road. Tao Ran took out a dagger and threw the mummy on her back in a circle in the air. The smell of the mummy dissipated and she successfully hung up the fire scorpion behind Xiao Wang. She took a few steps up, and when she looked back, she saw her teammates working together to push the driftwood that Lele had placed by the lake into the water. After confirming that they were more than 10 meters away from the shore and out of the fire scorpion's attack range, Tao Ran was about to speed back when the vibrations on the top of the mountain were almost as strong as a magnitude 6 earthquake. Huge energy burst out from the ground, and Tao Ran stepped on the ground. She was almost thrown away, relying solely on her body coordination to barely stabilize. The giant scorpion is no longer important, because the mountain is really going to collapse. She increased her speed to the highest level. She was also glad again that thanks to her, even if her feet were unstable, she could still use Qinggong to push forward, otherwise it would have been too difficult at this moment. The flying sand and rocks turned into a loud roar, and the rocks rolled down from the top of the mountain. Tao Ran rushed to the mountainside in a thrilling manner. As soon as he stepped onto the edge of the lake, a huge boulder smashed a crater behind him. She jumped into the water and breathed a sigh of relief. She grabbed the rope left by her companions and handed over her safety to them. Several people quickly pulled the rope. Just as Tao Ran was about to climb up the log, the originally calm lake surface began to stir up waves. The lake began to shake. Tao Ran no longer had to climb the driftwood, because the other 5 teammates have been thrown into the lake. A vortex has appeared not far ahead and is coming towards them. Tao Ran, Zhou Chang and Xiao Wan quickly hung the mummy on their bodies again, and the 6 people immediately grabbed each other tightly to prevent them from being scattered. 6 people were drawn into the whirlpool. At the same time, all 6 people heard a ding and received a system message. It's a pity that everyone has neither time nor mood to see it. The huge vortex brought rapid impact, which not only made the 6 people feel physical pain, but also made them dizzy. Ah Zhong was the first to notice something was wrong. The other 5 people looked and saw that deep in the vortex, there seemed to be the 4th part of the mummy body they wanted. With this discovery came another jingle. In order to confirm, everyone could only reluctantly check the information. 2 messages. The first is that they complete 3/5 tasks and receive a reward of 1000 points. The second one tells them to try to get 4/5, the part of the mummy body deep in the vortex. After receiving the information, the vortex gradually stabilized. If you look carefully, you can see that the water flow at the vortex mouth faintly forms the 2 numbers 83. It's quite amazing that the 6 of them didn't fall at the mouth of the vortex, just spinning in circles at a fast and slow frequency. The 6 people who were dizzy except Ah Zhong, who had eaten nothing in the past few hours, all vomited. Only Ah Zhong was still observing the vortex, and suggested that his teammates who were going down follow the wind and current, just like surfing. The current flow is quite stable, so there should be no big problem. Ah Zhong's words attracted the attention of 10 eyes. They then remembered that they had heard Ah Zhong say before that he and his father were both pilots, and the reason why they participated in the game was to find out where the crashed plane piloted by his father finally crashed. No wonder Ah Zhong's physical fitness is so good and he didn't lose his composure in the whirlpool. Turns out to be a professional. So, who else would I be? In this way, Ah Zhong became the chosen one and was recommended by everyone to go on the mission. It shouldn't be difficult to go down, but if you come up. Ah Zhong frowned. It will be a counter-current then, and my personal ability will definitely not be able to improve. We'll help you come up. Taoran dug out a bundle of new ropes made of special metal from his bag. I've never been willing to use this. Now I'll give it to you. Taoran was very happy to finally not have to end up himself. This Ah Zhong has a very good brain and is good at physics. Seeing how clear-headed he was when he analyzed mechanics, it was natural that he was the one to do it. In addition to his rich experience, let him perform well. Don't worry, we're 5-1, so it won't be a big problem. And we'll use the golden gloves to pull you out safely. In this way, Taoran gave the golden glove that he could use once to the stronger Xiao Wang, and Zhou Chang also drew a few more prizes and made up a pair of golden gloves, which greatly increased the strength of the team. Ah Zhong just fell into the whirlpool. He almost went down to the middle of the vortex, used a hook to grab the mummy's body at the bottom of the vortex, and successfully hoisted it up. As soon as that part of the body left the bottom of the vortex, the rotation speed of the vortex suddenly began to accelerate. Above, Taoran and others quickly pulled the rope. 5 minutes later, Ah Zhong returned safely. Undoubtedly, this level tests the trust of the team. See whether the team cohesion is sufficient, whether you dare to fight, whether you dare to take risks for the team, whether you dare to entrust your life to your teammates. Ah Zhong did it, and his teammates did not let him down. 4/5 mission completed. The whirlpool disappeared and they returned to the lake. However, Lele became the focus of the other 5 people's attention. Only then did they notice that this guy's outfit was so original. It turned out that Lele was afraid of being embarrassed, so he cut a small piece of snake skin from the mummy shroud he was protecting and put it around his waist to cover up his appearance. He was so nervous just now that he didn't even have time to borrow some clothes, so he was crossing his legs at the moment, which was indescribably funny. This guy was so angry that he screamed, but the other 3 gay men were already in tatters, so how could they lend him any clothes? In the end, Taoran only found a pair of black night clothes. Women's clothing, Lele was disgusted. Do you want it? Taoran faced the 2 fire scorpions not far away. Either wear women's clothing to cover up your ugliness, or fight naked. It turned out that the lake surface was shrinking at a speed visible to the naked eye, and the fire scorpions were approaching step by step. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 959. The lake the 6 people were in was getting smaller, and the water level was also falling rapidly. At this moment, the lake water that was originally several meters deep is now less than 2 meters deep. All 6 of them could barely stand directly in the water. Facing the 2 fire scorpions waiting eagerly on the shore, Taoran asked his teammates democratically. Either run or fight, what should I say? There are only 2 ways. As a result, Taoran's hands were empty, and Lele had already taken away the entire set of night clothes and put on his pants in an instant. He and the other 4 people responded in unison, run. Several other people didn't dare to bet. No one had any spare clothes or pants. If he was accidentally swept by the fire sprayed by 2 scorpions, he would be naked like Lele. Rather than that, it's better to be safe and run. They should be faster than the scorpions, as long as they don't die from exhaustion. Then, the 6 of them waded to the other side of the lake and started running. At this time, they didn't know that their run was almost a full marathon, a distance of more than 40 kilometers, a painful process that couldn't be stopped. It's not that the two scorpions are chasing them, but that this 84th floor is a multiple choice question. The system message stated that if they did not run away, then killing the giant scorpion would be the content of the 84th floor. If they ran away, then their mission would be to run to the end. What a run to the end! After they started running, they discovered that the road ahead seemed to have no end and no hints. But the road behind them was just the opposite. There was always a thick darkness behind them, like a monster, swallowing up all the roads and scenery they had just run through. Their escape route has been disappearing at a constant speed. Tao Ran also did an experiment. She threw a white glove out, and then watched the white glove disappear into the darkness 3 seconds later. In other words, if they cannot run before the back roads disappear, they will be swallowed directly by the darkness like those back roads. This is too scary. They had no choice but to run wildly. They ran through one node after another within the specified time. At the 9th node, the system sound they had been waiting for a long time finally arrived. Everyone lay there tiredly, unable to say a word for a long time. More than 2 hours. If everyone's basic physical fitness was not good, would they run to death now? The 84th floor is just over. They checked the time. This entire mission has just passed 21 hours. Well enough. Only the last fifth of the mission remains and it is almost over. We haven't rested for the past few floors, fearing that there will be similar intense level breakthroughs in the future, so everyone unanimously agreed to rest for an hour to recharge. After everyone casually ate and drank a few mouthfuls, they fell asleep and meditated. They were all exhausted, and within 3 minutes, they started snoring. Tao Ran actually fell asleep too. Her subconscious mind was still vigilant, knowing that it was best not to sleep at this time, so as not to be caught off guard when unknown dangers arrived. But she was dreaming. Subconsciously, she wanted to tell herself to wake up, but as soon as the dream came out, she did not dare to open her eyes easily. Because this dream is related to the last part of the mummy's body. She wasn't sure whether this was a dream or a reminder. In the dream, it clearly pointed to the location of the last part of the body. She saw the route taken by the tomb robbers. She saw the trap formation they walked through, where half their men were dead. She saw them crawling through the long tomb passage. What greeted them there was the suffocation caused by the lack of oxygen and the cramped environment, as well as the attack of poisonous mist. She saw the last part of the mummy's body. That's the girl's head. Her appearance, the curse, and the killings caused by her unleashing her demonic energy were all seen by her. Then, Tao Ran woke up. After looking at the environment, she found that she had not forgotten what to do next. Soon, the other 5 people also woke up. When everyone was communicating, they suddenly discovered that the dream just now was not just Tao Ran's, but that everyone had the exact same dream. A message from the system came, asking them to send one person to go through a series of dangerous tests in the dream, carry out this team mission, and retrieve the last part of the girl's body. There is also a note at the end, players are advised to choose task executors carefully. Once failed, not only will the tasker be eliminated directly, but all items in his backpack will be dropped to his teammates. Team tasks, done by one person? It's so unfair to the taskmaster. If you win, the benefits belong to the team. If you lose, not only will you lose everything, but you will also have to lose. What about other teammates? The missionaries win, and they reap the benefits. Even if they lose, they still take advantage. They make a lot of money no matter what. So who else wants to do the quest? Wouldn't it be better to just wait and get the benefits? No, I should say, who else has the guts to take the initiative to do the task? The mission is coming to an end, and the mummy's body has basically been recovered. If any teammate becomes evil and stabs the back, such as blocking the tomb passage, then the mission leader will die and his belongings will be given away. Who dares to bet on human nature? Too cruel. To put it nicely, this is a test of the cohesion of the team, but to put it ugly, this is clearly a naked attempt to sow discord. Taoran glanced at the 5 people around him. Fortunately, her team is satisfactory to her and is okay. Everyone frowned and studied the rules, but no one was in a hurry to express their opinion on who to choose. For example, Xiao Wang, who was communicating with his little secretary at this time, asked if 2 people could not complete this level. For example, Lele, who clearly has the worst ability, now actively said that this level is quite dangerous, so he might as well draw lots. Whoever is caught is whoever is caught, and it is up to fate. Although Sunyang was silent, she had already begun to count her crossbows. None of the 5 people explicitly hinted that they were not good enough and hoped that someone could take the lead. On the contrary, Zhou Chang was the most frank. He came forward and asked Taoran directly, "If you go in, how sure are you?" "I made an estimate. If I go in, there is about a 50–60% chance of success. If you are higher than me, I suggest you go. Those present, you are still the strongest." Taoran deliberately did not respond immediately. "Zhou Chang, you don't have to worry. As long as I'm here, no one will dare to stab you in the back. Zhong, if you are worried, you can go in with the things we care about most. If we dare to feel sorry for you, you can just destroy those things. Sunyang, I propose that the rewards for the series of plots be distributed according to work. The captain pays the most, and you get the big share when you come out." Lele, yes, yes. If the reward is a bonus, we will supply the captain with supplies. Xiao Wang, if you are tired, I can go. Taoran stood up. She was going too. She is the strongest in the team and has the highest success rate. This reason is enough. I only have 2 words to say. First, I am the captain, and I will go. The mission is not over yet, and the trust of the team must not be broken. You don't have to think too much. Second, it is very important, you heard it clearly. Everyone nodded and waited for Taoran to speak. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 960. The 5 of them were very solemn. They all thought that Taoran would say something important, but they didn't know that her fingers were smooth. You have also seen that in this kind of dangerous moment that may involve life, the first person he pushed out was me. If I really had an affair with him, how could he do this? And for such a wolf-hearted man, how do you like it? So, let me clarify again, there is nothing wrong with him and me. Whoever dares to spread scandals in the future will not be spared." After saying that, Taoran patted his clothes and started preparing to leave. Everyone was dumbfounded. The wolf-hearted Zhou Chang laughed out loud, "Is this matter so important?" Of course, Taoran turned around and said, "You can't take advantage of my popularity without my permission. This is my quality as a female star." Taoran was not polite. She asked Zhou Chang for his pair of golden gloves that could be used twice. She and others collected some elementary daggers and stuck them all around her waist. She put on her own protective suit and directly entering the passage. She was not in a hurry to go deeper, but recalled the dream in detail at the entrance of the passage. She tried her best to memorize the location where the group of tomb robbers in the dream encountered sneak attacks, traps, and poison gas. After roughly remembering it, she started the solo adventure. Her strong mental strength and agility helped her avoid all kinds of sneak attacks and traps to the greatest extent. She escaped the attack of the rain of stones, she avoided the poisonous arrows fired from the fan-shaped holes in the wall, she ran in front of the moving wall, she got rid of the siege of the mutant animals, she forced her way through the trap-filled trap corridor. She survived the bottomless tomb passage, where the air was thin and almost suffocating, and she had to crawl through the tomb passage entirely by will. The lack of oxygen was painful, and by the time she reached the other end of the passage, she was completely in a daze. When she woke up, the scene in front of her was exactly the scene in the last stage of the dream where several tomb robbers were confronting the girl's head. The girl's skull was entirely black, surrounded by balls of black energy, which was ferocious and terrifying. And a tomb robber who had just been hit by her black energy was rolling on the ground and banging his head on the stone ground. He couldn't stop even though his flesh and blood were flying everywhere. After witnessing such a scene in a dream, who would want to do the solo mission? Now, Taoran had to take away the head and return it to its rightful place. She could choose to join the tomb robbers and take the last part of the girl's body. But Taoran joined in the fight against the tomb robbers without saying a word. In the final analysis, this tragedy was caused by these tomb robbers. Every wrongdoer has his own debtor, and she has to deal with them first. As for the girl, Taoran still has a good impression of her. So she decided to surrender. Then the old method is to gain favor with this head first. Taoran fired the dagger continuously, and kept playing with the long sword, hitting the tomb robbers directly with every move. And the group of tomb robbers actually had guns in their hands, and they were not polite to Taoran. Taoran rushed out of the way, praying in his heart that the protective clothing on his body was bulletproof. But she didn't feel any bullets coming. Looking again, the bullet was suspended in the air like a feather. It turned out that they were all held by demonic energy. Taoran attacked again, and the tomb robbers took out weapons such as electric batons. It's a pity that they didn't take action. A few minutes later, all the tomb robbers were beaten to the ground. The demonic energy suddenly enveloped them and swallowed them up. As for the head, this time it faced Taoran. A second later, the head commanded the black energy and began to attack Taoran. "You're here to catch me too." There was a gloomy sound in the air. Black and red lights flashed over. The black light is as sharp as a blade, and the red light is a curse. Taoran just dodged and defended, without making any attack, and spread a piece of snake skin on the ground while tumbling to avoid. "I'm here to help you. I'll take you away. I have no ill intentions. The breath on the snake skin is yours, and I also have your breath. You can definitely sense it. This is all evidence that I worked hard to save your body. I swear I will never hurt you." Taoran explained one after another. The head's attention also shifted to the snake skin on the ground. Taoran specially brought a piece of snake skin wrapped with a girl's mummy. She had to convince the head that she was here to help her return to her place. In this way, I will certainly be able to suffer less. The head came forward, and while staring closely at Taoran, he also sniffed her bit by bit. It was difficult for Taoran not to feel hairy all over her body and her heart pounding, but she maintained a high degree of quality as an actor. She smiled sincerely without showing any guilt, and she also tried not to show her disgust towards the skeleton in front of her. Taoran told the girl that she had collected the other parts of the girl's body. In order to win the trust of the head, she also retold the story told by the doll to the head. "There's another part of your soul that trusts me. So, come with me. Head, seeing as we are both fallen people from the end of the world, I will believe you just once." Taoran glanced at it. "Are you referring to my soul?" "Yeah. One gold and one black. 2 lines. Same fate as mine." It said the same words as the doll. "The gold ones are thick, and the black ones are long." "Yes. We are the same, so I won't hurt you." "Okay then. I believe you for the time being. But I don't want to get into your lowly things." The head gestured to the snake skin on the ground. Taoran silently put away the snake skin. This lowly thing that even monsters despise is a valuable tool for her. Then, as he moved his head, black threads appeared in the air, and eventually they all wrapped around Taoran's neck. "If you lie to me, I will break your neck," it said. "Let's go." That. Taoran pointed to the package on the ground. She sensed spiritual energy overflowing from there. As soon as he entered the secret room, although he was under great mental pressure due to the demonic energy, Taoran's soul and body felt a different kind of joy. The previous discomfort due to lack of oxygen actually relaxed at that moment. She locked onto the package right then. If she guessed correctly, what was in the package was the aura crystal that the tomb robbers dug out of the coffin carvings. The head snorted, and the package was held up by the black energy, following the two people, no, one person and one head. Start returning. Taoran was thinking about another thing. Since you can control these black energies, can you control the black threads in my body? This guy is good at using curses. If Elizabeth also used a curse on herself, who knows? Is there any way? The head came up again and looked at her for a few seconds. Your black line is not the same as mine. And the time is too long. Isn't it too long? At least hundreds of years. Taoran only knew that her grandmother's grandmother had this blood disease. She really didn't know how many years it had existed. It's been a long time anyway. Taoran wanted to continue asking, but he was scolded by his head and told to ask somewhere else if he had anything to say. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 961. Half an hour later, Taoran brought his head to join his teammates. The system message from the 85th floor has also arrived. That is, bring these parts of the body back and return them to their proper places. The next journey seems simple, but it is not so smooth. All 6 of them were dominated by the head. In the end, all 6 people had black thread wrapped around their necks. Just like the doll before, this head was very playful and caused many difficulties for the 6 people along the way. The 6 people were treated like cows and horses by the head and turned into toys. According to the system schematic diagram, what was originally a single road suddenly made them walk through mountains and rivers. Thanks to the head, the journey was half an hour at most, but they ended up walking for 2.5 hours. Thanks to them having enough time, otherwise they would have been dragged to death on the way back. They returned to the doll space and placed several body parts into the coffin. It took them exactly 26 hours in total. Then, the doll floated over, thanked the 6 people, and said that it needed to get used to its body, and asked the 6 people to wait next door. It is said that it prepared a gift next door. The space next door is the 86th floor. Go in, there's nothing. Just a round boulder, like a table. 6 people sat on the floor around the table. System messages have also arrived. The displays in front of the 6 people were synchronized. Theme, Reckoning. First comes the reward. The player successfully completed the system task within 26 hours, 10 hours earlier than the stipulated time. It will be rewarded. It will be settled at 1000 points per hour. The player team will receive a total of 10,000 points as rewards. Since 10,000 points cannot be divided equally among 6 people, the points will be randomly allocated by the system and drawn by the players themselves. Then, 6 treasure boxes appeared on the display screen in front of the 6 people. It shows that the points this time will be distributed in 4,000, 3,000, 2,000, 1,000, and 2 empty. Another gamble on luck. If you are lucky, you can get 4,000 in one hand, which can almost help the assistant to level up. But if he is unlucky, this random choice will immediately create a gap of 4,000 points between him and his teammates. You must know that for normal tasks, it is extremely difficult to score 4,000 points. Then you will naturally feel unbalanced, right? Stimulate. At this moment, he was just Taoran, with no emotion on his face and a little bit of discomfort in his heart. Why can't it be divided equally? Why depend on luck again? She doesn't like it? The other 5 people were not in a hurry to choose. Sunyang said bluntly, "Captain, you go first." It was agreed before. "You go first." Taoran shook his head. You know your own luck. Rather than choosing first, it's better to make a gesture and just pick up the rest, at least it won't look so bad. At Taoran's insistence, they finally made their own choices. No surprises. Taoran hit an empty spot. The grand prize of 4,000 points fell into the hands of Lele. 3,000 points went to Sunyang, 2,000 points went to Ajong, and 1,000 points went to Zhou Chang. On the contrary, Xiao Wang and Taoran, who contributed the most, got nothing. The four people across from them were panicked and embarrassed. Taoran and Xiao Wang looked at each other, but they were not too frustrated. They realized it. This is another provocation from the system. The one who contributed less in the team got the most. Those who give the most get nothing. No matter what kind of group we are in, no matter how strong the alliance is, there will always be gaps. After all, brothers still have to settle accounts. In fact, everyone is aware of this. This is the time to encourage team unity. I'm afraid there is still time for mutual cooperation in this series of tasks. The more this happens, the less we can let the team disperse. It just so happened that there was a verbal agreement during the previous level. Sunyang stood up directly. I don't need so many points. I plan to distribute according to work as I said before. I only get 1,000 points. Lele and Zhou Chang also nodded immediately. We agree. We will only take 1,000. Let's take a look at the extra. How about settling it with supplies later? Taoran asked his assistant and learned that they would soon have a supply layer. This is easy to handle. In the end, several people agreed that the points would be like this for the time being. When it comes to the supply level, everyone uses supplies to replenish more and less. This assignment is easily solved. Everyone is happy. The second reward has also arrived. This time it's bonuses and no penalty wheel bonuses. There are still 6 treasure chests. They are random 8%, 5%, and 3% bonuses, as well as 3 penalty-free roulette wheels. This time, Zhou Chang got an 8% strength bonus, Sunyang was still lucky and got a 5% speed bonus, Xiao Wang got a 3% luck bonus, and Taoran and the other 3 got a roulette wheel. As a result, Lele actually got a pass card, and Ajong got a treasure hunt reward. Taoran, his performance was still so stable. She's bonus points. The amount is still the same as the previous no punishment draws, which is still 500 points. No contrast, no harm. These 500 points are so worthless that I can't stand them anymore. Under the distressed looks of everyone, Taoran remembered that he had another bet with the doll. If she wins, she can get a 10% luck bonus, but if she loses, she will be cursed and lose 30% of her luck. She feels that with her luck, she really can't afford to lose. Her next main task must be to make the doll happy. Words are still flashing on the system display. It's not over yet. It is said that the items players harvest in this level, such as snake skins and bones, can be taken away from this level as additional rewards. Taoran quietly weighed the bag of spiritual energy crystals still on his body. Can this also be taken away? This is really good stuff. She felt refreshed just by having it with her. Her mood improved a lot. There is also information on the display. The rewards are over. An extra mission came out. It is said that they took away the mummy bodies scattered throughout the tomb, causing the demonic energy that had stabilized to start raging again. In some places, earthquakes continued, and in other places, the storm continued. They must do something. To this end, the system proposed 2 plans. First, they went back to where they found the mummy's body and brought back the magic stone. The second is to purchase demon-suppressing stones through the system to resuppress the demonic energy everywhere. The 6 people were extremely speechless. Who wants to go back again? They don't have the physical strength anymore. Naturally, it is to waste money and eliminate disasters. Therefore, No one was curious about what the magic gathering stone in the first item was. Almost all of them clicked on the second item, and then saw that each magic suppressing stone required 2,222 points. This is too expensive. In other words, the points required for the 5 magic suppressing stones exceed 11,000 points. The rewards they just received were not enough to fill the gap. Moreover, this is too damaging. The points obtained from the treasure chests just now were almost all odd numbers such as 1, 3, and 5, but the points required to suppress the magic stone were 2,222, which was an extremely double number. Note, it also shows that players cannot buy together. If you want to buy it, you need a magic stone. 6 people, 5 magic suppressing stones, there must be one person who doesn't need to use them. This is cheap, who should I give it to? Let Lele, who just got 4,000 points, buy 2 magic stones and lose 444? Let Ajon, who scored 2,000 points, pay 222? Nothing seems reasonable. Someone has to suffer? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 962. 6 people need to take out 5 magic suppressing stones. Tao Ran knew that he might not be able to escape. You can't let Xiao Wang, who didn't get a single point in the 2 rounds of rewards just now, post 2,222 points, right? So even if there is one person who can avoid getting points, it is Xiao Wang. As the captain, instead of grinding and whining, I might as well take the lead. You follow your own volition and discuss it among yourself. I'll give it first. Tao Ran directly pressed redemption on her screen. The 2,222 points made her feel distressed. Sunyang blurted out, "Wait a minute," but she didn't have time to stop Tao Ran. A shiny purple fluorite had already popped out of Tao Ran's page. What? Tao Ran realized that he might have been impulsive in wanting to seize the opportunity to take the lead. Sunyang signaled Tao Ran to take a closer look at the first plan proposed by the system, which was to find the magic gathering stone in each part of the mummy's body and submit it. A map and the specific location of the magic gathering stone were attached at the end. Then, Tao Ran couldn't help it anymore and took 2 deep breaths in succession. The first plan required 5 magic gathering stones. The location of the first one was the waterway. The specific location was unexpected. It was actually the gallbladder of the anaconda. Tao Ran was so speechless that her face twitched, and she found the shiny black snake gallbladder from her bag. No wonder she felt something was wrong when she first saw the snake gallbladder. It was very elastic and the color and luster were like obsidian. It turned out that it had a serious name. It was called Demon Gathering Stone. She had a bit of fun when she got the snake gall, thinking that the snake gall must be useful, but it turned out to be useful here. So angry. If she knew that this was the Demon Gathering Stone, she would naturally give priority to the first option. Then she wouldn't have just taken the lead and wasted more than 2,000 points. She quickly communicated with her assistant and asked if the snake gallbladder could still be submitted. The assistant confirmed that it can be submitted. After submitting, no matter whether they look for magic gathering stones or magic suppressing stones, they just need to gather 4 of them to suppress the evil energy. Tao Ran felt pain in his chest. Therefore, I have suffered a big loss. I lost the snake gallbladder and spent an extra 2,222 points. She herself contributed 2/5 of the mission. Seeing this, the other 5 people also began to look at the locations of the other 5 magic gathering stones. It was shown that the second magic gathering stone was under the ice. Several people recalled it and found that they had not paid attention at all. The third one was in the deep pit where the fire scorpions fought. At that time, All their energy was spent on how to remove the mummy from the entangled tree roots as quickly as possible, but they did not see it. He said that the fourth magic gathering stone was deep in the whirlpool at the bottom of the lake. Ajong, who went to execute it, smiled bitterly. That part of the mummy was hooked up with a hook, so we didn't go under the whirlpool. The fifth magic gathering stone is in the cave where the mummy's head is. Taoran shook his head. At that time, all her attention was on the bag of spiritual energy crystals, and she did not look for other objects at all, therefore, they missed the other four magic gathering stones. Zhou Chang, no matter what, we just need to collect 3 more magic stones. Taoran didn't want to talk to him. It would be no problem for the remaining 5 people to collect 3 magic stones. Lele wanted to give 2, but everyone knew that his assistant was the lowest among the people, so it was difficult for him to give in. So Lele bought 1. Sunyang had just won 3,000 points in a lottery. She cashed 1 in without saying a word. Ajong, who had just won 2,000 points, and Zhou Chang, who had won 1,000 points, competed to redeem the last magic stone. In the end, Zhou Chang was quick and grabbed it. Ajong insisted on giving Zhou Chang some supplies as compensation. Overall, Taoran was the only one who lost money. But thanks to Taoran's love and dedication, the rest of the team did not have any resentment due to uneven distribution and uneven contributions. The reckoning is over. I have some problems at home, so I asked for leave again. Feel sorry. In the next period of time, I will try my best not to ask for leave. Love you. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 963. The 6 people walked out of this space, and then saw 87 marked on the ground in front of them. The 6 people walked over and then entered a stone forest. There are carvings on every stone here. Taoran recognized at a glance that these were the patterns carved on the outside and inside the coffin lid, which were used for sealing. This stone forest is quite restrictive, rather like some kind of sealing formation, but it has not been activated yet. There is a large area in the middle of the stone forest. From a distance, it looks like there are buildings in this area. When you take a closer look, you can see that this is actually a miniature model of the underground palace. It was basically a 10-to-1 replica of the underground palace they walked through. Among them, there is an obvious black fog in 5 locations including water channels, ice formations, volcanoes, and the main room where the coffin is located. System message has arrived. They said that because the entire underground palace's demonic energy was dissipated, it was not enough to just get the demon suppressing stone and the demon gathering stone. They had to use the demonic stone to seal it. And this is the place where they need help to seal it. Then, the sealing method appeared on the display screen in front of everyone. They need to memorize a rather complex text, similar to ancient Roman text, and a complex pattern that they cannot understand. After their memory is completed, they need to cooperate, each draw a seal diagram in the black fog of the model and seal it with the given words. The mission must be successful if all 6 people are correct, including every word and picture. There is no time limit, but they only have 3 chances at most. If they fail to pass after 3 chances, one of them will start the penalty wheel. It sounds like the punishment for failing this mission is too weak compared to before. Unless the team has outstanding cohesion and values the advancement and retreat of everyone in the team, the player's sense of tension will be greatly reduced and they will have a mentality of even if I lose, I only have a 1/6 chance of being punished. But if they really lose, the punished team members will definitely feel dissatisfied, and there will definitely be a gap, so for these 2 levels of tasks, the system is a bit provocative, right? Taoran is still very confident in his team. We must complete it within 3 times. Although the 6 members of the team have their own strengths, they are all smart people. It's not a big problem to test your memory. The 6 of them each found a place to sit down and began their shorthand. Everyone is very serious and trying to pass it once. Taoran already had the ability to memorize lines, but now her mental level has improved, so even if the words are messy, she can quickly memorize them. The pattern was similar to the pattern she had written down on the coffin, which made her grasp the key point immediately. After silently lying on the ground twice to confirm that he had memorized everything, Taoran didn't waste any time and started meditating directly. The smell of that bag of aura crystals is too tempting. She couldn't wait any longer. She took a crystal in one hand and began to try to practice her mental power. This aura crystal has a purifying function, but I wonder if it can have the same effect on me as it did in the coffin? As soon as the spiritual energy came out of the crystal, Taoran's spiritual energy, which was only available in the 2 levels of Longbao, was also activated. After all, it was a treasure. Her soul was instantly shaken, and a large amount of spiritual energy rushed in. Just as a long drought brings a sudden burst of rain, Taoran felt that his consciousness suddenly became much brighter. The 2 small buds of the wood spirit in her consciousness also jumped for joy. She almost watched the 2 buds become thicker and the color suddenly turned green to black. Is the effect so good? Taoran took a closer look and found that the wood spirit's vine body was also growing, and was now as thick as a wicker. What a surprise! Just as Taoran was about to activate the spiritual energy crystal, there was a tinkling sound in his ear. She just ignored it? A second later, the assistant's voice rang in his ears. Sister, stop. The system tells you to stop. Why stop? Taoran pretended to be stupid. But she probably had an idea. She has always been worried. This bag of aura crystals is obviously a very important prop. But just after completing these 2 levels, the system didn't even mention it. It should be noted that even the keel and other object systems that this group of people received have been arranged. There is no reason why the system would forget about the treasures involved in purification. Taoran knew that this was a good thing. This prop was of great value and would definitely have future uses. That's why she was anxious and started using it as soon as she found the opportunity. She was afraid that if she waited any longer, she would not even have the chance to pluck out the wool. Therefore, even now, she did not stop, but seized the time to be a porter. What she wants is not spiritual energy, but to strengthen the seedling in her soul. The assistant was very anxious when he heard the voice, I just want you to stop using the aura crystal. I've finished my task, why don't I do something of my own? Taoran deliberately delayed. Sister, stop. Really, the assistant was busy conveying the received signal. This is a system requirement. Then let the system explain it clearly. Well, it's just delaying anyway. It's so unclear, why should I listen to it? Taoran knew very well that the system had always emphasized the principle of fairness. Now if he was asked to reveal the reasons, wouldn't it be similar to cheating? So it shouldn't be easy to say. She continued her transportation, feeling the wood spirit's vigorous growth. Anyway, she was right, so Taoran simply ignored the little assistant who was walking around. 2 seconds later, in order to make Taoran obey, the system finally intervened forcefully. The method was simple and crude, just like Taoran cheated before, he directly greeted him with thunder and lightning. With a bang of thunder, Taoran's moving work was suddenly interrupted. As a result of the forced interruption, her vision went dark, her ears became deaf, and her whole body felt fragmented for a moment. The combination of hot and cold, chi and blood surged up, and her consciousness was damaged. She almost spit out a mouthful of blood. And the sub-spiritual energy she had just absorbed just soothed her injured body and soul, allowing her to return to her original state. But Taoran still slightly activated his internal energy, which made the sweet taste in his throat disappear. Taoran became furious as he spat out a mouthful of blood. Of course, at least half of it is fake. Conflict. Not really. At best, She is using loopholes to fight for reasonable rights and interests. Why? I want to complain. She kept pressing the complaint button on the display screen. What did I do wrong? I got the aura crystal by my own skill. How is it different from the food, drink, and props in the previous levels? Why can players use the previous props, but I am not allowed to use this one? Are you targeting this? Me? Or are your game settings too casual? If this crystal doesn't work, please give me a valid reason. Even if it cannot be used, there is no prompt on the crystal. So after all, this is your problem. What does it have to do with me? Why should I pay the bill? I didn't suffer any internal injuries during the mission. Why is it that the system is hurting me and making me angry now? You didn't give me a reasonable excuse, and you even hurt me for no reason. It's two mistakes to go in and out. As Chao Ran spoke, he wiped away the blood around his mouth. He looked aggrieved and pitiful. Aren't you always emphasizing fairness? Is this your fairness? Her teammates were attracted by her movements and began to ask what happened. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 964. Faced with the concerns of his teammates, Chao Ran would naturally not accuse the system directly to them. Not giving face to the system when you come up is not conducive to seeking benefits for yourself, isn't it? After all, she was so angry just to show off her grievances, and then put pressure on the system, using the care and curiosity of other players as bargaining chips for negotiations, in order to obtain greater benefits. She will neither offend the system nor make things difficult for her teammates. Since the survival game is set up to face thousands of worlds and is recognized, it must have rules for its operation, and it is impossible to just teach others what to say. It cannot be said to be unfair, nor can it be said to have loopholes. Therefore, for the system, these two items that Chao Ran insists on bringing up must definitely need to be dealt with and hope that major issues can be minimized. Chao Ran figured out this joint before being shocked, so she contradicted the system without any concern for the consequences. Now, she would naturally give the system a chance to make up for its actions. Of course, as an actor, she certainly cannot let the system see through her mental activities. Chao Ran's face expressed his indignant attitude. What I said above is correct, right? Do you want to give me an explanation? If you don't, I will have to ask everyone to give me an explanation. While Chao Ran looked at his companions, he also pressed his hand on the backpack bar of the world speaker, as if he was about to send the world speaker at any time and talk to all the players. Ahem, just think of her as threatening and intimidating. On the display screen in front of Chao Ran, the assistant was waving her hands and shouting "wait," and a string of words appeared above her head, which read, "The system is processing urgently, please wait a few seconds." The little assistant quickly received the message. She told Chao Ran not to be impulsive and to calm down. The system was just an expedient move to make her pause the purification, and the damage caused to her would be compensated. Very good. Chao Ran started negotiations with the system through his assistant. Under her questioning, she quickly learned that, as expected, this spirit stone crystal would be an important prop in the upcoming levels. For this reason, the system had to stop Chao Ran's behavior. And all of Chao Ran's requests revolved around just two words: compensation. Soon, the assistant announced a processing result. The system is willing to give Chao Ran 2,000 points as item compensation, a 5% physical bonus as compensation for her lightning strike, and give her a penalty-free roulette draw as system compensation. That's it? Beautiful thought. The aura crystal is a huge treasure to Chao Ran. How can it be offset by 2,000 points? The bonus thing is becoming more and more useless for Chao Ran, who is improving his martial arts every day. As for the no penalty roulette lottery, it's even more optional. 9 times out of 10, all she can draw is 500 points. Therefore, Taoran obviously didn't have much interest in the system's opening conditions. You made a mistake in your work. The loot I got needs to be handed over now and must be compensated. You have taken up my task time, and now it will have a huge impact on my task. I must compensate you. Because of what you have done, I am now in a very bad state from the inside out. You have affected my progress in the future. This is unfair. You used violence against me and must make amends. You have made my chest still hurt, I must make up for it. I am the sufferer and the victim. You took my things and hurt me twice. The compensation must be doubled. Because of your actions, my teammates have also been affected. Our mentality and speed have been affected. I'm afraid we won't be able to pass this level. You must compensate. I got snake gallbladder before, and you said it was a spiritual gathering stone. I drew a lottery, and it was either empty or the worst reward. I finally got something based on my strength, and you still took it away. I have reason to suspect that you are targeting me. Regarding this, I need an explanation and compensation. The assistant didn't respond for a long time, and Taoran didn't know whether she was stuck or stunned. After several seconds, she said, "Sister, how dare you mention it?" Taoran, not a single word, just convey everything. It has been transferred. The assistant smiled awkwardly. However, the system said that if it is reasonable, they can consider making compensation. But if it is related to your own bad luck, you cannot take advantage of it. Taoran hummed. It doesn't matter whether there is something or not. If you have something to say, just follow what I just proposed and discuss compensation one by one. Otherwise, it will be unfair. The system can only ask her what she wants. I am a reasonable person. Taoran played with the aura crystal in his hand, and the more he looked at it, the more he liked it. This was more abundant than the spiritual energy contained in the top-quality spiritual stones she had in the world of cultivating immortals. She deeply suspected that it was compressed and synthesized using high-tech technology. You are going to use this spiritual stone as a prop now, so I don't need to use it. But after this level or after I attack the tower, you must replenish me with the same amount of spiritual energy crystals. This is one. What did she come to the survival game for? Not just to get the lucrative prize that both she and Elizabeth wanted. The humans in the higher world who set up the game have too many things they want but don't have. It's rare for Taoran to know what he wants, so naturally he won't miss it. This is about my time loss. You have to compensate me in other ways, such as giving me a floor jump or removing the stairs penalty. This is 2. 3. I vomited blood because of you. Taoran wiped the dried blood around his mouth again. You opened the warehouse to supply me with supplies of my choice. 4. My game mentality is broken, you can give me some luck bonus. 5th, my teammates also have a bad mentality because of me. Give us some benefits in the next series of plots. In addition, give me 5,000 points as compensation. Taoran was not polite at all. The lion opened his mouth and directly gave 6 requests. Of course she knows that the system cannot agree to everything, but this is the correct way to start a bargain, isn't it? You come and go and I pay you back slowly, and you have to grind out some benefits. Is it true? Her base price is only for aura crystals. Even if she only got a small piece, she would be very happy. During the negotiation, Taoran deliberately accidentally pressed 312 on the world loudspeaker and went out. Sure enough, in less than a minute, there were more than a dozen replies. 3 of them were concerns from former teammates such as Tiger, asking her what happened, and have you not found the vice captain yet? The rest of the replies were all silly and funny. In this world, oh no, indeed in every world, there is no shortage of people who gossip. As a female star, it is easy for her to inspire public opinion. Pressure came to the system again, and a new round of compensation plan was once again revealed in written form. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 965. After some back and forth bargaining, the two parties finally reached a consensus. Because Chaoran is particularly unwilling to give in when it comes to aura crystals, insisting that whatever she finds and is taken away, she must still be given something. Otherwise, it is unfair and violates the principle that this game has always emphasized, but she cannot be convinced. In the end, the system could only agree that if she could successfully attack the tower, it would give her 3 aura crystals as compensation. Originally Chaoran asked for 10. But the system said that even giving her 1 would be generous. After listening to the assistant's explanation, Chaoran realized that the aura in the aura crystal was highly concentrated and compressed, and was a scarce item even in the higher world. So Chaoran took the initiative to back off and said that he didn't need to open the warehouse and increase the compensation. He also took the initiative to say that he would keep this transaction confidential and not let anyone know about it. The system then increased the number of crystals to 2. Chaoran grinded for a while and finally reached an agreement. 1 aura crystal was obtained from her mission, 1 was compensation for system vulnerabilities, and the other was compensation for injuring her. In addition, Chaoran worked hard and demanded compensation for the time wasted on this task. She got 2,000 points as compensation for herself, and her teammates also got 500 points. Chaoran was satisfied. Next, she must work hard for the 3 aura crystals. If she can secretly bring 3 spiritual energy crystals back, then she can further practice in the real world where spiritual energy is scarce. Both her physical body and soul have become stronger, and the wood spirit sealed in her soul has grown stronger, so her hope of getting rid of Elizabeth will suddenly become greater. Chaoran quickly sat down and meditated. Without the spiritual energy of the crystal, the spiritual energy in her body disappeared again. All she could do was to soothe the injured area with the scattered spiritual energy that had just been saved on her body. After receiving their compensation points, the teammates were all stunned. 500 points, where did it come from? They wanted to ask Chaoran for details, but were blocked by Zhou Chang. The captain has just been injured. Let her recuperate first. Let's do the task first. Follow the captain and have soup. This is my experience, of course. Zhou Chang also knew that the meat in the soup must have been eaten by the captain. Lost. But he is not greedy, and the leftover soup is already very good. An hour later, after the 6 people confirmed that they had memorized the words and graphics, they took on the first challenge on the 87th floor. The 6 people each stood in a dark and foggy area in the miniature underground palace. They had to follow the process to first draw graphics on the wall set up by the system, and then write down the entire sealed text silently. However, this first attempt failed directly. It was not the failure of one person, but 4 of the 6 people who were directly sentenced to failure. The 6 people focused on the content of their own memories and did not pay too much attention to the external environment. So when the black mist, or demonic energy, harassed them, they were caught off guard. For example, when Lele was drawing graphics, she suddenly discovered that her finger had drawn on the face of a white-faced female ghost. When the female ghost saw his finger stretched out, she opened her mouth directly, revealing a mouth of bloody fangs. At the same time, she also stuck out her tongue, and stepped forward to lick Lele's finger. The cold and wet feeling was too intimidating. Lele subconsciously shrank his hand, and his fingertips were crooked. The shape was wrong, and he was also sentenced to failure. Ah Zhong is similar. He was just painting, and suddenly someone attacked him. His hand shook, and it was tragic. Zhou Chang was not spared. His neck felt cold, and a vampire was already lying on his back, biting his neck. When the cold and sharp touch came up, he told himself that it was an illusion, but it was a real sharp pain in his neck, and then he saw a whole bunch of blood dripping from his own body. He had taken action after all, and a drop of paint accidentally flew to his hand. On the wall, the sound of failure rang in my ears. So this first attempt ended in less than 10 seconds. Only then did everyone realize that it was not easy. It is not only a test of memory, but also a test of their ability to remain calm and their concentration. Everyone stabilized their mentality and started the second round of attempts. Taoran is okay. She can close her eyes, isolate her 5 senses, and use her strong mental power to control each stroke and write it perfectly. Others can only grit their teeth and try to block the influence from the outside world. But it takes too long to be immersed. After surviving drawing pictures, I still have to write down large paragraphs silently. No, one teammate suddenly got stuck while dictating, and another teammate made a mistake when he was distracted. This time, it ended in failure. On the third try, Taoran lent his protective mask, protective clothing, hat, and even raincoat to his teammates. For example, Lele wrapped himself into 3 layers of rice dumplings, wore glasses, a mask, and even 3 pairs of gloves to increase his sense of security and prevent any weird things from happening to him again. Physical contact. After the third challenge began, Taoran was in no rush to start her mission. Instead, she observed her teammates. She saw that the black mist everywhere seemed to be more rampant than the previous 2 times. It was jumping up and down, and it was quite likely to cause landslides and earthquakes. The higher the level, the higher the devil. They had countermeasures, and the system also had more exaggerated means of influence. Looking at this situation, if there is an earthquake or tsunami, I'm afraid I still won't be able to pass this level. The purpose of this level is probably to make them fail and accept the punishment roulette, and then create discord due to uneven punishment. Taoran didn't want this to happen. If I had known this, I should have included this level of compensation when negotiating with the system. Taoran didn't hesitate, immediately turned on the display screen, and pressed the complaint button again to communicate with the system. It should still be too late. Even if the sky fell apart, everyone would definitely be able to hold on at the beginning. She had to let this pass no matter what. The reason why she works so hard is not because she has the overall situation in mind, but because she knows clearly that once she chooses one of the 6 and starts the punishment, 9 times out of 10, the unlucky person chosen will be herself. So in the final analysis, she is fighting for her own rights. Faced with the complaint, the system ignored her and just asked the assistant to tell her that the previous agreement between the 2 parties had taken effect and no other compensation was possible. Taoran immediately found another attack point. She spoke plausibly. I asked you to make compensation, but I didn't ask you to compensate immediately, right? My teammates were previously affected and their memories were interrupted, so I won't mention it. I just asked the system to compensate my teammates with points as well. But who asked you to issue compensation directly? Why don't you give compensation after this level of task is completed? Don't you realize the timing is wrong? Don't you know they are on a mission? Originally, everyone was calmly memorizing, but you not only interrupted their memory, but also because of your sudden points distribution, everyone became excited. My teammates are so happy and sad, their mentality has already been messed up. But this level also tests calmness. This is not fair to us. It's hard for me not to doubt that you acted this way intentionally. So I protest. I complain. I'm not satisfied. Your casual behavior makes no sense for us to foot the bill. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 966. Taoran successfully caught this loophole in the system. Even the assistant feels that if she insists on this determination, there is a certain truth. There was silence for several seconds in the system. In the end, it suffered the loss of being dumb. In an instant, the black mist above the entire underground palace model stopped where it was, and the turbulence just now disappeared, leaving a calm and peaceful atmosphere. This is the concession made by the system, directly reducing the difficulty. The assistant quickly conveyed, "Sister, do the task quickly. The system will give you a 10-minute calm period as compensation. Sister, seize this time. In addition, the system asked me to tell you, only this time, the last time." "Yeah, I get it. Originally, it was just a try." Taoran was very happy when his goal was achieved. "Please help me convey this to them, thank you for their hard work." "What system?" "Ah." She previously called the system it, but later changed her name to they. Neither the system nor the assistant raised any doubts, which shows that the other party also subconsciously regarded the system as them. Aren't the people standing behind the system all human beings? Whether it's someone like customer service or a big boss who controls the game, they are all people from the advanced world. 10 minutes is enough for Taoran. After Taoran successfully completed the drawing of the pattern and wrote down the seal text perfectly, he found that everyone had completed their respective tasks. The black fog above the underground palace model has basically dissipated, and the mission has been completed. Xiao Wang came over and tentatively asked if the captain had helped them. It turns out that Xiao Wang, who is relatively the most capable among the remaining 5 people, has been immersed in the task throughout the whole process, so his progress is very fast. When he came out after completing the task, he saw that Taoran was not dictating the task, but busy on the screen. He saw with his own eyes that when Taoran smiled, the black fog above the underground palace model changed from rough to calm. He knew that the captain must have done something else and deserved a lot of credit. Taoran, nothing, just arguing with reason. She made a mouth gesture to express her inconvenience. Everyone is once again very grateful to this captain. They were in an illusion just now. Although everyone felt different situations, they were similar difficulties. They almost thought that they would not be able to survive this third try. The sudden rain and clear skies helped them get out of their predicament. They were still sighing about their good luck. It turned out that there was a reason. In this way, everyone was very grateful to Taoran. The purposes of these levels are all the same, and they should be meant to drive a wedge between us. Taoran couldn't help but tell the team members, "Next, if it comes time to test us, I hope everyone can temporarily put the interests of the team first. Heavy. We help each other and make progress together." Taoran said it sincerely. All the teammates have benefited a lot from the team. Isn't it better to help each other than to fight alone? They also hope that the team can go further and have stated that they will not betray. As soon as the 6 people left the underground palace model, they saw the Mark 88 in the main tomb chamber. Moving forward, the doll floated out. It sat directly on the shoulder of Lele, his favorite. "My physical condition is very bad. Not only has it been broken into several pieces, but there are also many rotten spots. I need your help." Taoran raised his eyebrows. "Is this coming?" Sure enough, in the next sentence, the doll said that although her body was recovered, she needed the purification crystal that was stolen from the coffin, but unfortunately the crystal was lost. The tomb thieves should have left it somewhere. As soon as the baby finished speaking, the ringing in the ears of the 6 people also appeared. "This is the task of the 88th floor. Find crystals for a limited time." Taoran took out the bag of purification crystals and shocked everyone present, including the doll. The doll laughed, stepped on Lele's head, and jumped onto Taoran's shoulders. "You are indeed my good friend. You are really interesting and know what I want. Thank you." The doll stretched out its hands, hugged Taoran's neck, and then kissed Taoran. Taoran smelled the familiar smell of sour rot and spices, and got goosebumps all over his body. Fortunately, her favorite jingle came as expected, making her smile from the bottom of her heart. Congratulations to the player for gaining the love and blessings of the doll. Your luck value will increase by 3%. Look, this NPC is much more powerful than the system. I passed the 88th floor so easily. The other 5 people were in disbelief. The 89th floor is a matter of course. 6 people need to work together to seal the crystal to the coffin to activate the purification function. It looks simple but is not easy to do. They needed to start the sealing steps at the same time while the girl's head was exuding black mist, and complete the sealing within 1 second. Lele and the others were fully armed again and tried not to be disturbed by the black mist. Taoran, on the other hand, was doing 2 things. While he was busy working on his own seal, he was also paying attention to his teammates. He was responsible for giving orders and adjusting everyone's speed by watching their progress. This time it was quite successful, and they completed the mission on their 3rd try. It's off to 90. The illusion that occurs once every 10 levels is coming again. Everyone took a deep breath, but felt quite relieved. Everyone is on the same floor, so don't be afraid. The player who comes out first will naturally send a small speaker. With such an alarm clock in hand, why worry about being late? The 6 of them told each other to come on, and after 21 more levels, their attack on the tower would be over. Hope is not far away. The 6 of them approached the area marked 90 together. The environment in front of him changed, and Taoran entered another space. It's that kind of white space again, similar to the environment where you have to answer questions every time you take an exam. She didn't like it instinctively. There is nothing in the space, only a stone pier. She sat on it. Granny Hua, her mother, her past, the fantasy world had all been revealed, and she was a little curious about what weaknesses the system was going to exploit in her this time to make up a story. Taoran waited for the plot to come to his door. But a minute passed, and there was no plot. What was waiting was cold electronic music and a monitor. The theme, Rules and Opportunities, was written on the screen. Electronic sound Balabala talked about how to pass this level. In short, this is an opportunity level. If you want to pass the level, you need to pay points. The amount of points to be surrendered is 1000 points. You can earn these points yourself, or you can use opportunity cards to plunder teammates. Regardless of the means, if you pay 1000 points, you can continue to move up. Taoran snorted. Let's just say that the uneven distribution and punishments in the previous levels were just to make the teammates psychologically unbalanced. If anyone is a little confused, then this level is not a breaking point. The entire team will undoubtedly fall apart. After all, for many people, 1000 points is not a small amount. If they had just upgraded their assistant not long ago, they would probably not be able to get 1000 points, so they would have to rely on plunder to get ahead. Read on. How do you get the opportunity card? This is even simpler. You can buy one for 300 points. With opportunity cards, players can designate any teammate to start plundering. The methods of looting are also noted below.